Good afternoon, it's Lindsay. It's whatever. What is the date? Thursday, December 12th, 2024. So let me talk some more about gaslighting and gang stalking and smear campaigns and all the nonsense and shenanigans and crap that these narcissistic people employ on your life after you have tried to go no contact, or maybe you have gone no contact and blocked them and shit like that. Well, okay, they talk about in a lot of these videos that you watch about narcissistic abuse, you're going to hear a lot of these people, coaches or whatever, these people claim some of them are horrendous, shitty, not good at all coaches, I'd have to say, in my experience. Some of them are not so bad. But anyways, you need to be careful about who you contact with some of these so-called narcissistic abuse counselors. Be careful, because a lot of them are undercover agents, and they'll exploit you even more. That's what's happened to me in the past. Just be careful, whatever. But anyway, some of them are really good as well, though. Some of them you can learn a lot from because of their experience and their knowledge. But anyway, so what they'll do, when it's a holiday season, especially, you've probably heard how they come around this Hoover shit, the hoovering that they do. It's called like a hoovering. Well, that's when they come back, when the relationship is ended. In your mind, it's over. You've ended it, and they can't accept no for an answer. So they come back to hoover you, to try to see, what's going on in your life, or if you've progressed any, if you've healed from all the damage that they've tried to cause, or that they did cause. It's not, people think that, oh, that's a good thing. They're coming to check in on me, or they care about me. They want to get back together, or maybe we can work things out, and, they've changed, or, it's going to be different this time. And no, it's not that. It's not what you think it is, because when they come back to hoover you, it basically means they assume that you're still weak. They think that you're still weak enough to let them back into your life. And so when you do let them back in, if they keep on trying to come back in after the relationship ended, however it ended, in most of these relationships with these kinds of people, narcissistic, psychopath type people, they end in a bad way. They don't end in a good way. They end in such a way that you don't ever want to see them again, or talk to them, or even know anything about them. Okay, it's like it's usually that, and that's the way these relationships usually end. So, like I said, when they do come back to hoover you during the holidays or whatever, they'll contact you on Facebook or social media or something. They'll reach out to you after several years of you not hearing from them, or after they ghosted you, or whatever happened, right? And so all of a sudden they appear back into your life. They'll find you again on maybe a dating site that you first met them on after 2 years, or whatever, Facebook, and they're like, oh, it's the same thing. They act like they're using the same pickup lines that they used when you first met them. Nothing's changed. The same stuff, same thing. They're still the same person. You think that probably they've changed, but no, they'll start kind of talking about stuff that they're doing, and then you realize, okay, they're still doing drugs, or still addicted to marijuana, for example, or whatever. Now, to each his own. To each his or her own. If you want to smoke pot all day and do drugs, recreational drugs, and drink and do whatever, if that makes you happy, do it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I personally know that in my experience, in my path right now, I don't have any desire for that, or time or patience for it, and I don't really want to be around individuals who are doing that, as far as trying to get me entangled with their drama, because a lot, and usually they're stoned all the time, or they're drinking too much, or they say that they're doing this or that, because nowadays it's so easy to get these drugs, marijuana. I don't know if it's legal or not. I think it is. I don't know. But anyway, people are very much addicted to drugs. And I'm not, yeah, marijuana should be legalized. It's not a big deal to me, but I personally don't really have any interest in it. I've already done my dabbling with that stuff over the years, and I know that it doesn't really do anything to me anymore, and plus it does hurt my lungs if I smoke anything. So I just try, I can't say that I haven't tried like a vape thing before where it's like some kind of something that was, maybe it was that Delta stuff, and that was okay. Actually, it was very relaxing. That I tried that a ways back, like about a year ago, I guess, or maybe more than a year ago. But other than that, I don't know. I'm not into the whole, like I said, I've dabbled with the marijuana. I've dabbled with the Delta 8, the legal stuff that you can buy that's this synthetic shit, which may as well be, I don't know, it's whatever, okay? I've tried it all. I've experimented with the gummy things, the, whatever those things are called, the gummy, yeah. I've tried. I don't have anything against it. Really, it's not a big deal. But I just know that I don't think that for me, it doesn't really do anything for me anymore, except makes me a little bit more fucking agitated or paranoid. Like if I'm gonna go, since I go to the gym every day, and it's like, what's the point? So I can get on the treadmill and trip out and maybe actually trip and fall. That happened to me before anyway. Once on the treadmill, I fell down, and it could have been as a result of my having done something in the morning, like gotten a little bit of a lift up, like a little high from some Delta 8 or 9, whatever that stuff is called. And that was several years ago too. And I had an accident on the treadmill. That was at the Gold's Gym on Goliad. I literally fell off it. And so accidents can happen. I don't know if it was because of that. I think it actually was because my shoe had come untied. That's what happened. I don't think it had anything to do with the fact that I had taken a little bit of a hit of something that morning. I really don't think it had anything to do with that, but you never know. I don't know. But anyway, accidents happen to people, stoned or not stoned, high or whatever, drunk, not drunk, things happen, right? And so me knowing that I drive so much and that I'm very cognizant of my surroundings and very hyper-vigilant and very, paranoid as it is, just naturally, I don't really feel like that I should be doing that, and especially if I'm going to be driving a long distance to go to the gym, because it's not that close by. So it's like, I don't think that'd be such a good idea, unless I'm staying at home all day and I know that I'm going to be at home all day, or which I don't like to do. I like to go to the gym when it's my thing. But it's like, what am I going to do? Go trip out on mushrooms all day and meditate and smoke pot and then try to do all that? I've already done all that stuff. I've been there, done that. I've done all my psychedelic experiences over the years with all that stuff. And yeah, it was fun but now I don't really, I wouldn't mind doing ayahuasca. I guess that's the one thing that I'm curious about, is going to Peru or something and doing maybe one day going to Peru or back to Bolivia, La Paz or something. But that's one thing that I have a little bit, some kind of an interest in, is the ayahuasca trip. I've heard about that. I've read about it. I've heard about that. And that could be interesting. I can't say I would say no to that if I had the opportunity. But for now, I'm just trying to stay off of everything. I haven't had any desire to even smoke any of this synthetic stuff that I have, almost a whole thing of it that I haven't even touched. It's like I just kind of give it a rest. Not now. It's not. But you never know. Maybe in a couple months my mind might change again. I don't know. I do know that I stay away from elite things really hard. I don't dabble with meth or anything. I've never done anything like that. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff, because that those kinds of drugs, things with a needle, heroin and hard drugs like that, no, I'm not gonna. I've never been that keen on that kind of stuff. And even alcohol, I feel like alcohol, I can have a drink every once in a while and feel okay, but that even doesn't really do much for me anymore, I guess, because it's, as everybody knows, if you have alcoholism in your family, your DNA and genetics, and you're prone to be, you're much more prone to be addicted to it. And it can be a real battle, trying to fight the alcohol disease or demons if you already have that in your family lineage or bloodline, whatever. And I do on both sides, on both sides of my family, even though I don't know if they're my biological family or not. That's still the question. But so I have to be extremely prudent about those things because, it's just kind of like, not in my best. Yeah, I mean, my father, my supposed father, Ben, my alleged father, died from alcoholism, so liver failure due to alcohol and smoking cigarettes and not taking care of himself, like taking all kinds of, I guess he was on a bunch of pills, prescription pills and whatnot from doctors that he died at a young age, very young. Now he was like 60 years old, so that's pretty young, to die from that. And he looked like he was probably 70 something, but he was only 60 when he died. So yeah, it's not good. Alcohol, what it does, he killed himself with that. Poisons you, poisons your body, all that toxic shit, and cigarettes and all that combined. But I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just speaking from my own experience, my own opinion. This is all my opinion. But so anyway, like I guess I've gotten to the point where I'm really trying to just like focus on my life and what I'm gonna do and what I want to do, and not let things like that interfere with my life, as well as not letting certain individuals who have these addictions get too close to me, because they kind of fuck things up and they have a way of interfering with your healing path or journey, if you know what I mean. So back to the hoovering thing, when these people, and I'm talking about men in my life because I'm a heterosexual, but the men, some of these men who I know from a long time, from years ago, it's like all of a sudden they pop back up again. Like, it's like, well, okay, all at once, like this happened, three of them did this to me in the past month. 3 men from my past just contacting me out of the blue, as if like, hey, what's up, it's like, well, who sent you and why are you doing this and what do you want, is my first instinct. Like, what are you doing this for? Who set you up to this? Because it's obvious that somebody did set them up to that. They don't just, come on. In my being a targeted person, yeah, I'm pretty sure that these are setups, and plus all the weird things that have been going on with that other situation that I was involved with, that person, that man who is very, I'd say a psychopath. I want to call him, I think a stalker, obsessive stalker, borderline psychopath or something like that. Maybe borderline personality disorder or bipolar. If I had to give him a diagnosis, I'd say that, because he's got a lot of problems that he tries to conceal by putting on a mask and a front. But I know the real him, and I've seen his true colors, so it doesn't fool me. But it's like yeah, they, like, for example, you tell them no, you block these people, and they come back and they, oh, let's go out again. I want to take you out on a date, and then all of a sudden they say, oh no, since you don't text them back immediately, oh, forget it, I'm going to cancel it. And then I'm like, okay, fine. No problem, That's just one example of somebody who came back to hoover me after a couple years. It's like finding me on Facebook, contacting me again. Hey, beautiful, what's up? How have you been? Let's talk. So we talk on the phone. It's like, you're still the same as you were when I knew you. A player, narcissistic, full of yourself, egocentric player. Yeah, you're smart and you have good qualities as well, but you're still the fucking player. And I can't deal with these men who are that way, when they just use you or manipulate you or gaslight you and try to make you feel bad, because they're projecting a lot of times their own anger or insecurities, I notice, whenever, so it's just, whenever you're at a certain age, you know, when you're in your 50s, especially, or late 40s, or even the whole dating thing becomes just it's almost like you're really putting yourself out there in a sea of sharks and uncertainty if you're putting yourself out there on a dating site or whatever, because there's so much toxicity, there's so much pain and anger that people have, and guilt, shame and guilt that they have, that the unresolved issues from their past relationships that they still didn't work out. And so you're kind of like accepting all that baggage, because a lot of these men, I've noticed, like, they put on a front like they're okay, like everything's fine, like they're over their ex, and, you know, no, they're not. Once you get to know them and you start peeling the onion, no, they're not. They have a lot of issues with their ex still, and they're still in contact with the ex. They're still obsessed with their ex-wife or ex-girlfriends, and, you know, they have mommy issues. A lot of the times they have a controlling mother who dotes on them and basically spoils them rotten. And so they kind of are attached to their mother, such to the point that the mother probably gets jealous if he's with someone, you know, that kind of thing. That kind of weird dynamic where you're like a third wheel and they won't even introduce you to their mother. Even though you've known this person for a couple years or a year and a half, you're still like a secret to their family or something. It's like, wait a minute. Oh, that's right, because you're just a friend. Because with narcissistic psychopaths, remember, they're players, right? They're serial cheaters. They can't be committed to anybody because they cannot. They have to play the field. And so what they do is they're gonna love bomb you and charm you and all this shit and act like they care about you, but it's all bullshit. They don't really care about you, because if they did, number one, here's something that this is very important for people who are, I don't even care how old you are. You might be in your 20s listening to this. You may be in your 30s, younger than me. I'm not young. I'm not a young girl anymore. But look, from my experience in dating and being a targeted individual and all this stuff, and having a bad marriage, a green card marriage where I was taken advantage of, and being all this shit, I've got a lot of experience with different relationship type issues. Look, if a man is only want, this is for women, this is some advice, and I'm sure the women are smart enough to know this. They obviously they know this as well, I'm sure. These women know what I'm talking about. If a man is only if you've been with a man for more than a year and he still is not going to commit to you, and he still has you in the friend category, right? You're still a friend who he quote unquote cares about, but you're not his girlfriend. Well, okay, that means that, what does that mean? That means that he doesn't know how to commit. He doesn't care about you enough to commit to you, so you're wasting. And if you think he's going to change, if you're wanting something serious with that man, forget it. Because he's a fucking player, he's a liar, and he's a manipulator, and he doesn't give a shit about you or the relationship. Because if he did, he wouldn't keep you in a friend category. He would be proud enough to introduce you as his girlfriend, or maybe his wife if you're married, whatever. You know what I mean? This bullshit friends with benefits crap where you're doing everything that a couple would do, that a married couple may do, yet you're only his friend. Doesn't that kind of piss you off if you're a woman and you're going out of your way to fucking please a narcissistic jackass who doesn't do shit for you except fucking invades your boundaries, your privacy, calls you, bothers the shit out of you, stalks you, and gets angry if you don't call him back, you know, these kinds of things. Who's basically, there's a loud noise out there, who's like a controlling person, yet he doesn't want you to talk to any men and gets jealous and possessive, but it's okay because you're a friend. You're only his friend, and he cares about you. And he gives you little gifts and little things to fuck with you and gaslight you, to let you know that, you know, it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this about? Because clearly there's no respect there. Clearly he has an agenda. Clearly he's using you, okay? Clearly there's a motive behind it that's not good. That's an ulterior motive that's not in your best interest. How could it be? how could, and I'm talking to myself, I'm speaking from my own mistakes and experiences with what I've gone through, because I've learned that, no matter how much you think and want to believe that, this person cares about you, they're on your side, they really respect you, and they are going to support you in anything you want to do financially. Maybe they're going to help you emotionally. They're going to be your friend. They're going to, if you're sick, they're going to, no. They're not. Whenever you'll find that with these kinds of people, these narcissistic people who come into your life, and you give so much of yourself to them and all your energy, you'll find that whenever you may need somebody the most, like, they're never there. They disappear, right? You might be sick because they can't stand it. If a person is sick, oh my God. If you are ill, maybe you don't feel well, you had something happen to you, had to go to hospital or something, whatever, or had an accident. Ooh, they're not going to be there for you. Forget that, because they're going to, as a matter of fact, they're going to get pissed off at you. They get angry if you're sick. You're not supposed to get sick because you're supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be there to serve them whenever they need you. Like a, what are you thinking? You're supposed to be their little obedient slave and dog who gives, is there on command. How dare you get sick or not feel well? How dare you want time to yourself? How dare you tell them to fuck off and leave you alone? You can't do that. You're not allowed to think for yourself. You're not allowed to use your own mind. No, you're under their control. You're their object. That's how they see you. This is really, these people see you as nothing but a supply. Like, literally, it's sick. I did not know. Look, and I had never had these kinds of experiences before in my life until, maybe I did, but I didn't know what it was. But now now that I've been educated about narcissistic abuse and the aftermath and the trauma effects and the trauma bonding and all the shit that happens as a result of the abuse, the aftermath, and the consequences of what they do, because there's always consequences, okay? People, it's really messed up what they do to you, and the trauma, of path of destruction that they leave in your life. Even when you're healing, even when you have healed, you still get triggered by what they did to you. And they do it, what's so messed up and so insidious and so completely demonic is that they do it on purpose. They do this to get a reaction out of you. And here's an example. Here, let me give you a good example of a psychopath behavior. They come to your house, knock on your door, they're bothering you, you've gone no contact, you've blocked them on your phone, you don't want to talk to them, you've told them, verbatim, told them, don't call me, do not talk to me again. If you do, I'm going to call the police. Leave me alone, I'm not interested. You've told them to their face. You've expressed to them that you don't want to have anything to do with them. Well, what do? They still keep coming up. They still keep calling you and texting you, or even though you block them, leaving you messages. Why are they doing that? It's to get you mad. It's to get you angry. It's not. It's only because they want to get even with you and get revenge. That's the only reason they're doing that. Trust me. And then they come back and they'll knock on your fucking door or window and you let them in. Or maybe you go out there and talk to them and you get really angry, like throw a shit, like get really mad, right? Like really angry at them and scream or talk loud, and you're becoming somebody who they bring out the worst in you, but yet they stay this is a sign of a psychopath. They're watching you get this fucking angry at what they're fucking doing to you, right? They know what they're doing. They're triggering you to react. It's called reactive abuse when you react to it. They're doing it on purpose to make you look so fucking crazy and delusional and like a psychopath who is a mentally ill, violent person. Okay, this is another little fucked up tactic that they use. Because they're sitting there all calm and collect and acting like, putting on, but you know that they're mad, but they have to act like act all calm. No. You see, that's also designed to make you look fucking crazy, because a normal person When you're being abused psychologically and maybe emotionally fucked with and psychologically gaslit day after fucking day by these people, by the time you see them in person, you're pissed off. And a lot of the times you're going to let them know that you're pissed off. And so they know that. And that's another way they use it against you, that they'll use that against you to make you look crazy and to discredit you. So be really careful with these sick, demonic people, because they will do anything and everything to completely ruin you and your reputation and your finances. Your health will decline because of all the stress, the anxiety, and the mental anguish that they cause and inflict in your life. Okay, this is real. Because I've gone through it, and I'm going through it still with these sick people. They come into your fucking house, you let them in, they break your furniture on purpose, and then you sleep on the fucking floor for a week, and then finally, because you order a new bed that you can't put the fucking thing together, and then all of a sudden, Captain fucking Jackass shows up at the door. Oh, let me help you. Oh, here I am to make themselves look good, right? Because there's fucking surveillance in my goddamn house, so they always have a way to make themselves look like the hero in your life. Here, I'm gonna save the day. Fuck that. It's all a fucking front, and they're fucking putting on an act. Okay, you're the one suffering, and they know that, and what they're doing is just demonic. These people literally are fucking demonic. They're demons. I've seen them. I've seen the way they act. I've seen the way you listen to something spiritual about God or maybe even the Bible. When I'm not like a religious person, but I have a lot of faith in God and my higher power, and I do learn about the Bible and stuff because it's very interesting, and it's good to know these things for me, and especially because I have a higher power, and God, yes, is my higher power. But these people mock and frown upon that. You talk about God, you talk about spirituality, anything that has to do with Jesus or whatever, or any kind of something. Ooh, watch the demons come out of them. You may as well be doing an exorcism with these people, because you start to see them manifest into something that's not human. You see their eyes get black. You see them basically shapeshift, and you're like, what am I? What's in front of me? Who are you? Who's in my bed? Who the fuck are you? You know, besides the fact that you're possessed with demons, and God knows how many women you have fornicated with since you claim that you've only been with me, you know, intimately. No, they lie. They say that, you know, they can't go a day or two without, if they're sex addicts. You know, these men, when it comes to men who are sex addicts, they can't go more than 3 days without having something. And if they say that they don't masturbate, that's a fucking lie. If they claim to be, if they're sex addicts and they say they don't masturbate, bullshit, they do. And yes, they watch porno. And yes, they're porno addicts. And yes, they get onto websites and all kinds of shit behind your back. And they are going to keep all this a secret from you. So learn really fast who you're dealing with. And don't believe in their fucking lies for a minute. You know that they've got hundreds of women who they're on their phone rotating shit that they're talking to. It's a big scam. They're scam artists, they're con men, and they're sweet talking, wearing a fucking monkey suit, whatever, to their job, you know, working a good job, making money, and then treating you like a doormat and coming over in a fucking sweatsuit, basically smelling like shit, looking like they haven't showered in a month, smelly, don't bathe, the unkept, to come visit you because you don't value. You're not of no value. You don't work at Saks Fifth Avenue. You don't drive a Mercedes or a fucking Lexus. You're nobody. I'm going to step the fuck all over you because you don't have any money or you're not important. This is how they see people. If you don't have the right car, if you don't have the right brand clothing, if you're not looking like a fucking fashion model or $1 million, they're going to make sure that you know that you're shit to them, that you don't have anything, that you're of no value. And they want to rub that in your face, because they're projecting their own insecurities on people, because I don't go out and flaunt my fucking money or flaunt myself to people because I don't need to do that. I've never been like that. It's not my style to flaunt what I have or what I don't have. Who the fuck cares? I'm not one of those kinds of pretentious, showy people. Like, it's just not me. Everybody's different, but I don't find that attractive in a person at all. I find it to be very shallow and quite... Yeah, you can dress nice and have a nice car, but the way you fucking behave, some of these people, they're so fucking transparent and narcissistic. It's just like, I don't want to be around these kinds of people like that. If they behave like that just because they have a lot of money, and it's a behavior that they exhibit that's a big turnoff. They act entitled and narcissistic and treat you like shit because you're ugly or you're fat or you're short or you're whatever. These people are of no value to you. They're there to drag you down. They're sent by demonic entities into your life as a handler or whoever. They're not of any benefit. They are not. And you as an empath, maybe not an empath, or whatever, or somebody who's intuitive with your feelings and emotions, you sense it. You can feel it, that there's something off, right? There's something that you feel really uncomfortable around that person. They have a vibe that's like a negativity of which they are energy vampires. Like they take away your energy, your happiness, your solitude, your peace. They're demanding of your energy and time, and they invade your boundaries, which is disrespectful. And then they give you backhanded compliments and they're dragging you down all the time about your finances, about your appearance, about your clothes, your style, your artwork, anything that they can find to critique you about. It's not positive criticism, it's very negative. There's a difference between being critical about somebody in a positive way, positive reinforcement, as opposed to somebody who's only doing it to make you feel bad about yourself and drag you down. There's a big difference. And if you're dealing with that kind of individual who's only coming into your life to cause problems and confusion because they're the masters of confusion. Satan and all these minions, it's about confusion. They want to have you in a constant state of confusion and feeling overwhelmed and anxious and walking on eggshells and what's going to happen next. And, this is all done by design because they want you to be constantly confused so that they can try to keep you in their little fucking trap. You have to be smart enough to get out of their fucking trap. Get out of it and don't go back. Try to not go back because they want to keep you entangled in the web of confusion. But the key is that you have to get out of the fuck. Nobody's going to help you do it. I've tried. I thought if somebody's going to have to help me, I'm going to have to call the police. I'm going to have to call. They're not going to help you. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to make it worse because it's going to shine a spotlight on you and give you unwanted attention if you get the authorities involved, unless it's a real emergency situation where you feel like you're being threatened with your life or raped. Other than that, I would say leave them out of it because they're all involved with all this fucking cartel shit and sex trafficking and what. And don't get me started on the police in this city because they're full of up to their ears in all kinds of shit here in San Antonio. And everybody knows that, what they do, most of them, or what they've been involved with. So, and I've got my firsthand knowledge and expertise and witnessing it. So I know what I'm talking about over the years of witnessing this shit for myself, about what the police get involved with, or the sheriffs, or FBI, or whoever the fuck these people work for, some of them. The Fusion Center shit, gang stalkers. Yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen it, enough of it to feel disgusted by it. And women are treated like fucking shit. Women are degraded and devalued more than anybody I've ever seen. In San Antonio, Texas, if you're not a woman with 5 children and married and a fucking house slave, they treat you like dog shit. Okay, your role as a female, according to society, is to be have a bunch of kids, be a homemaker, be a nurse, be a therapist, be a sex slave, and work a job, a full-time job. And if you can't do all that, you're going to get kicked to the curb and they're going to have a fucking affair with their secretary or some girl 20 years younger and throw you away like yesterday's trash. These narcissistic psychopaths, because they don't give a fucking shit about anything except their ego and having their fucking dick or penises coddled or whatever. They're sex addicts. They're mostly womanizing sex addicts, alcoholics, drug addicts, cokeheads, fornicators, or into all kinds of shit that I don't want to have anything to do with here in this city. And I thank God I am single, because honestly, trying to meet a man or find a man that's of my value and my time is not worth it anymore. It's just a waste of time.